Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Dell G15 5520 laptop. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to safely get inside and various components you can access once you're in. So first thing, power down your computer the correct way. Make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip the computer over to access our bottom case screws. Now there's 3 screws here towards the left, 3 screws toward the right of my screen, and these 2 down the bottom middle. After that, I would start up here near one of these corners with a small, flat plastic pry tool. I say plastic because they tend to scratch your computer less than a metal one will. And starting in one of these corners, I would gently, slowly pry up this bottom panel from the rest of your computer. Now, you don't want to put the pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Just keep it on the outside, go nice and slow. And if you get stuck in a section and you can't proceed anymore in that direction, go to the other side, start there, and continue around. Once you get your bottom case off, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, I have it sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer projects, there'll be a link above. Also below in the description, it'll show you all the tools and supplies and accessories that I recommend for my viewers. Now, before I do anything in a computer, I always either remove or at least unplug the battery. Computers are safest to work on when as little power as possible is running through them. So I'll show you how to remove it and unplug it now. Now here's your battery down here. It's held down by 4 screws all along the top edge, and you can see them right here, M2X4. That's what kind of screw it is and the location with this white arrow here. So you've got one here in this corner, one here toward the middle, one here toward the right, and then one up here in that corner. So that's how you would unscrew the battery. And then the battery plugs into the motherboard right here. Now, as with most cables and cords in a computer, try not to pull on the wires as much as possible. Try just to get it around the plug. Now, this one was a little hard. There's a section right here in the middle. You'll see it on your computer where you can put a pry tool there and press it out, but those are only so effective. So unfortunately, what I would recommend is grabbing these cables as close to the port and the plug as possible and pulling a little bit while at the same time pushing out there, and that's how I would get that battery plug out. Now, as far as the battery specs, if you're looking for your own replacement, this is a 56 watt hour battery, 11.4 volt, brand name Dell, and their part number for this battery is 8FCTC. I will have all that information below in the description. There will also be a link down there to all the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer. I will try to have a couple battery replacement options there if you just want to get one of those. If you're here because your computer's not turning on, if you're having trouble getting it to power on, it could be your battery, but it could be something else. Most laptops will keep working as long as they're plugged in, even if the battery's dead. So if your computer's not turning on, it could be something other than the battery. I will have another link above and below in the description. It'll be a troubleshooting tutorial video on what to do if your laptop's not turning on and the troubleshooting process you can go through to fix it. So right here on the left side of my screen towards the middle, right under your Wi-Fi card and your fan, this is going to be your only M.2 PCIe X4 Gen 4 solid state drive port right here. So to access this, as you can see, there's a little black metal guard on top of it with a screw right there in the middle. So you undo that screw, this guard will come off, and that screw is also holding down your solid state drive. This is a smaller 2230 solid state drive, but that's how you would get the solid state drive out of this port right here. So again, this takes Gen 4 solid state drives. I will have all the solid state drive specs below in the description if you want to look for your own replacement. But I also will have a link above and below in the description. It'll be a list of all the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer. And I'll try to have a good variety of solid state drives in there. I'll try to have at least one 2230, the smaller solid state drive. So if you guys are just looking to stock replace what's broken, I'll have that in there. But I'll also try to have some larger 2280s. This computer maxes out at about 2 TB. So I'll try to have a larger 1 TB upgrade option, a 2 TB upgrade option, or some smaller replacement options. And I always recommend, guys, in any computer maxing out your solid state drive and your RAM. These are large portions of the speed factor of your computer. So it's a pretty easy way to increase your computer's performance. If you are replacing or upgrading your solid state drive, you're going to probably want to install an operating system onto the new one after you install it. So I'll have a couple video links below. There'll be tutorials, one showing you how to install Windows 10, one showing you how to install Windows 11. These are your 2 RAM ports right here, one on the bottom, one on the top. The way that RAM works is it's held in by 2 spring-loaded metal arms, one on either side. The way you would get the RAM out is by gently prying those arms apart from each other, away from the RAM stick. The RAM stick will then release, and oftentimes it'll pop up a little bit, so you can grab it in the middle and slide it out of this port right here. Now, to get RAM back in, you'll notice on your RAM stick, there's a long section to the port and a short section. So you can't plug the RAM in upside down. It can only go in one way. And once you get it nice and flat in there, flush, where this gold portion is nice and even along the length of it, then you just push down in the center, and these metal arms will snap onto it and secure it in place. Now, the RAM information for this computer, it's DDR5 dual channel, 4800 megahertz. The RAM that was in this computer was PC5 4800B. Maximum capacity for this computer is 32 gigabytes. I'll have all this information below in the description for you as well, if you want to search for your own replacements or upgrades. I'll have a link above, also below in the description, to my Amazon store, and it'll be a list of all these replacement and upgrade parts for you. I'll try to have an 8 gigabyte stick in there because most of you will have 2 8 gigabyte stick stock in this computer. So if you're just looking for a straight replacement and you don't really want to spend a lot of money on upgrades, I'll have an 8 gigabyte stick replacement in there. I will have a 16 gigabyte stick replacement if you're looking to upgrade a little bit. And then I will have a full 32 gigabyte stick set where you can max out both of these RAM ports with a 16 gigabyte stick in each to max out your RAM. Your Wi-Fi card is right here towards the left of my screen underneath the fan. It's held in by a single screw right here on the left, that black screw. When you release that black screw, the guard, if you have one, will come off, and then you'll be able to pull this Wi-Fi card out of this port right here. The only thing that will still be attached are these antenna wire. They run through your fan here on the edge into this hinge assembly underneath this panel. So the way to get the antenna wire up, those are just snaps. They just snap directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card. And then to get them back down, it may take a little effort if you're not used to it. They have to be at a straight 90-degree angle to snap onto that card. And they are fragile enough where if you don't have it at the right angle and you force it, you could damage those snaps. So just go slow. Don't force it if it's not snapping on, and you will be able to get it right at that right angle to snap those back on. Now, the Wi-Fi card information, this was an Intel AX201. It's also compatible with a killer 6550i card. I will have that information below in the description if you're looking for your own Wi-Fi card replacement. However, to make it easier on you, there will be a link above. Also below in the description, it'll be a list of all of these replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer. So I will have that list below to make it easier to find those parts for this specific model. And I guess the last thing to shout out about this type of repair in a computer, if you are having Wi-Fi issues, if you can't see your networks, if you can't link to your desired Wi-Fi networks, it could be that your card is bad and needs to be replaced, but it also could be a driver or a system issue. I will have a link above and below in the description. It'll be a tutorial video showing you how to fix a situation where your Wi-Fi is not reading on your computer because, again, you may not have to get in here to do a physical repair. Your speakers are down here to the right of my screen near the bottom corner and the left of my screen near the bottom corner. Now, these are not actually screwed in. They're just held in by these rubber washers on top of these posts for sound insulation. So you can just grab these and wiggle them right off of there. Again, they're not screwed in. This one on the left of my screen is not plugged into the motherboard. It connects by this white wire down here to the other speaker. And this speaker's cord goes down here, loops around under that board, and plugs into the motherboard right there. Now, just as a reminder, when you're replacing your speakers, if that's what you're doing, make sure you pause this video or take a picture yourself, but you definitely want to get that run the exact same way, because if it's not run exactly like it should be, when you put your bottom case back on, you could pinch that wire or you could pinch it against your battery and damage it. The other thing, this cord here, as mentioned earlier with the battery, try not to pull on wires. They're fragile. Try just to pull on the plugs if you can. And this plug is nice. It's got a grip on the top and bottom, so you can just pull that out with your fingernails or a little pry tool. You should be able to get that out pretty easily. That's how you would access your speakers. I'll try to have a set of speakers in there as well. If you guys want to find your own speakers, I will try to include the speaker specs below in the description if you want to shop for your own replacement. And I guess the last thing to shout out about a speaker replacement like this, if you are having audio issues, if your sound quality is not right, if it's different when you're using different pieces of software, it could not be your speakers. Your speakers could be fine. It may just be a driver update issue needed, some sort of system update. I will have a link above, also below in the description. It'll be a tutorial on how to make sure all your drivers are updated, your system's updated. It's a pretty simple operation, but definitely try that before coming in here and attempting a physical repair if you're having those kinds of issues with your speakers. Okay, now unfortunately, as you can see here, there is no heatsink. It's actually on the other side of the motherboard. So yes, we do have to remove the motherboard, unplug everything from it, flip it over. That's how we access our heatsink assembly, the CPU, that area. So kind of a pain in the butt, but I'll walk you through all the things you have to unplug and how to do that. So first thing, I would remove your RAM. You don't have to remove it to take the motherboard off. I just like removing everything when I'm doing a motherboard replacement. It limits the chances of things getting caught on stuff, ripping them out, damaging ports and plugs. So to get your RAM out, they're held in by two spring-loaded metal arms on either side. You would gently pry those apart away from the RAM stick. The RAM stick will then release. Sometimes it even pops up a little bit and you can grab it and slide it out of this port. So you have two sticks there. The way to get this RAM stick in afterwards is you would fit it in to this plug right there. And as you notice, there's a long section and a short section. So you can't put that RAM in upside down. It can only go in one way. You get it nice and flush and even. Make sure the gold section is nice and lined up, as you can see here. Press down in the center, and then those arms will latch onto it and hold it in place. You have your Wi-Fi card over here. That's held in by a single screw. Undo that screw and the Wi-Fi card can pull out of this port. Then all you have left is your antenna wire snapped onto it. Those are just snaps. So you can just pull those right up and off of that card. And then to get the snaps back on, it is a little tricky if you're not used to it. They do have to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on to the Wi-Fi card. And they are sensitive enough where if they're not at the right angle and you apply too much pressure, you can damage them. So just be patient getting those back on. You'll be able to do it. Here's your solid state drive. You have a screw here and a screw here. That will release this metal guard over the solid state drive. And then this is the screw that held the solid state drive in as well. So by releasing that screw, then you can pull the solid state drive out of this port here. And then we're going to go through and basically unplug everything else from the motherboard. You have these two screws here. This is what's holding down this plastic panel right there. So you're going to undo those two screws, and then you can get this plastic panel off from this end of the computer. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Wiggle it. Don't apply too much pressure like any panel in a laptop. You are strong enough to break it. But those are the only two screws holding that panel down. Once that panel has been removed, your computer is going to look like this. These are some more things that we want to unplug. You have this little metal guard up here, two screws holding it down. You have your power jack right here, two screws holding that down, and then it plugs into the motherboard right here. So you would take these grips on either side. You could use your fingernails or a pry tool, wiggle that right out of that port right there. and then we have a whole lot of other stuff that needs to come out. So on this fan, you have a screw right here, and on this fan, you have the screw right here. So after undoing those fans, this one plugs into the motherboard here, and this one plugs into the motherboard here. So again, those cords are very fragile. Don't pull on cords as often as possible. Try to get your fingernails or a pry tool in each end of that to wiggle it out. Same goes for this fan one there. You have your speaker wire here. These are a little easier. These grips are very large. You can definitely use your fingernails or a pry tool to get that plug out of the port. And then you have all your ribbon cables down here. These can be very tricky, and these are very fragile, and you don't want to break them. So here's how they work. On these ones right here, they have black clips on a white port, and then the ribbon cable goes in under that black clip. The black clips operate like a book cover. So they're going to pop up. The hinges are on top. So you're going to put a small, flat pry tool in under this clip, and then gently pop it up like a book cover to release the ribbon cables. Those black clips are extremely breakable, and if you break them, you're probably not going to be able to find the correct replacement, which would mean you would need a motherboard replacement after that. So be very careful with those. This one's backwards. The black clip is on the opposite side, so you would open it from this side here instead of the ribbon cable facing side. But be very careful with any clips like those that you encounter in computers. And then you have another ribbon cable right down here. After that, it's pretty much, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot this LCD cable here. You would gently pry up this clear plastic tape before you could get that LCD cable out of that plug. After that, you just have some screws. You have a screw down here on the motherboard, over here on the motherboard, over here on this auxiliary board here, another one up there. Basically, again, go nice and slow, remove everything you can from that motherboard. After you get that motherboard off and flipped over, this is what the opposite end looks like. So you can see you have full access to your fans now and your heatsink assembly. So to get the heatsink assembly up, you have these two screws right here, these two in the middle, and these two on the right. So if you're here to clean out your computer, you have access to your fans and your heatsink assembly now. If you're here to reapply thermal paste, you can. Just as a word of caution, whenever you're removing your heatsink for any reason, whether you're replacing it or cleaning it, if your thermal paste or your cooling paste, if it comes into contact with air, then you have to replace it. You don't want to put it back down once that seal's been broken and it's come into contact with air. If you need help with that, I will have a video link at the end of this video. I'll also have the link below in the description. It'll be a tutorial on how to apply thermal paste correctly. It'll show you how to clean all the old stuff off. You don't want to put new paste on top of old paste. And then it'll show you the right amount of new thermal paste to put down. I guess last shout out, thermal paste is not all created equal. The cheaper stuff is cheaper, and the more expensive stuff will do a better job at facilitating the heat transfer out from your chip area out of your heatsink through the vent. So just keep that in mind when deciding what thermal paste to get. If you guys are looking for any of that thermal paste stuff, I will have that below in that link I told you about with all the tools and supplies for computer repair. There will be a couple options of thermal paste in that list. Also, if you're looking for fan replacements or any sort of replacement or upgrade parts for this model computer, there'll be another link in the description, and it'll have all of those, all the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. So I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry it was such a pain in the butt getting in here. But yeah, that's how you would access your fan, your heatsink assembly, CPU, GPU area in the 5520. Thanks again so much for watching. Please remember to like and share if this helped you out, if you think it can help someone else out. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoy DIY computer content like this, or if you just want to keep me on hand to answer any of your future computer questions. I do try to answer all questions throughout my channel at least a couple times a day. Also, feel free to check out the related links section below in the description. From time to time, I do try to add things in there that I think will help you with your general computer life, make it more productive, more enjoyable. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.